Jo White.
Thank you, Chair. From the moment that the Rwanda deal was signed until the moment it was scrapped, 84,000 people arrived here on boats. So how can you define that as a deterrent?
We may well be saying the same thing, but I mean the question was, you know, the Rwanda plan didn't deter anybody because we still had 84,000. I think the reason for that is because it was never in fact implemented. So smugglers, the intelligence coming across from Calais was that smugglers and the migrants did never believe that it was going to happen. But once it became clearer that the Safety of Rwanda Act had passed, and it may well have become a reality, then there was intelligence to suggest that some people were thinking twice about getting into dinghies, some displacement into Ireland as a result of that, but of course we'll never know now because we never actually implemented it. What I would have liked to see, I know we had a change of government, and clearly the new government made it very clear they were going to abolish the Rwanda plan, so we are where we are. But I would have liked to have seen an opportunity to see what would have happened if we had started at least some removals. We had flights ready to go. If we had started some removals, what that impact would have had on the incoming population. And I'm afraid we will never know now. So yes, clearly we didn't actually remove hardly anybody to Rwanda in the end. I accept that. But I would have liked to at least have seen us try to do that to see if it had an impact.
Mike Tapp.
Thank you, Chair. A couple of questions for Mr. Smith, if you will. Going back to some of your earlier comments, you spoke about quite enthusiastically biometric collection at the borders. Are you aware that we're looking at the new entry-exit system with biometric collection coming in this year? That's the first question. The second, you spoke quite negatively about the Border Security Command. Now, I believe from your profile that you retired in 2013, is that correct? Now, 12 years on, we've had the DG of the National Crime Agency in before you, who spoke very enthusiastically about the Border Security Command and this bill. Have you spoken to them since you retired?
No, I haven't spoken to the DG of the National Crime Agency. I'm retired, so probably different constraints apply to what I can say to what you can say when you're still working for the government. But I mean, I would say that I am very close to Border Force Immigration Enforcement, a lot of my former colleagues who are still working. I did go out on the boats with them last year. I'm very much in touch with what's going on there. I worked under the UK Border Agency. We had agency status. We were arm's length from government. I had specific removal targets that I had to deliver. I had end-to-end teams. I had front-end teams, asylum teams, immigration enforcement teams in a region working a case from start to finish with quite rigorous case conclusion targets. So I liked that system because I thought it worked. It got broken up into silos. We now have Directors General for Border Force, Immigration Enforcement, Migration and Borders, Homeland Security. Now we're putting another one in for Border Security Command. I think that's quite a jumbled mirage of civil servants. You've got the crime agency, and that's NCA, the police, and the security services. It's a really so I can see why you want a coordinator. I can see why you want a coordinator. That's what he is, though. He's not commander. I was gold commander for the UKBA London 2012 Olympic. I was in charge, basically. I had a Home Secretary. Obviously, I was answering to her on decision-making. But it came to me because I had command over all those units. Now you haven't, because you've got... Your Home Office is very gradist, and you've got Directors General for a whole different bunch of silos. It's going to be a heck of a job for the new security commander to actually direct activities on those agencies that have other priorities and other responsibilities, I think. So that's why I would like to see them have, agency powers, arrest powers, enforcement powers, and to have a whole look at that whole structure about border force enforcement, migration and borders, and see, is this too unwieldy? And can we have a more streamlined process where we have got somebody calling the shots?
Thank you. Obviously differing to those that are currently serving. And on the biometric checks, are you aware that we've got a new system?
So I know you've got an order coming in next week which does allow biometrics to be captured. That's going through, but I don't think it goes far enough.
So there's the new entry-exit system Europe-wide which will be implemented.
Oh, the EU one?
Yeah,
well, exactly, the EES system, that's what I mean. So the EES...
Here, at our borders?
No, we're not.
Yes, we are.
We haven't got an entry-exit system. We have
so
not
that's
got a
coming in this
biometric
year?
entry. No, we haven't. We've not got a biometric entry-exit system. The EU are bringing in EES, the entry-exit system, which means Brits will have to give their biometrics on entry and exit. We're bringing in the ETA, an Electronic Travel Authority, but that's different to an entry-exit system.
Thank you.
Becky Gittins.
Thank you very much, Chair, and thank you very much to the panel for your spirited contributions so far. We obviously know that the processing of asylum claims ground to a halt under the previous government, due in part to the Rwanda scheme and to the IAM. That being the route that, other than the 4 that went to Rwanda, people were either granted asylum or returned to the country from which they came. We also know the impact of the asylum system sort of grinding to a halt on our communities. Massive influx of people being placed in for sort of indefinite periods in asylum hotels, and also the impact that this had on our local authorities and their ability to therefore provide services to the rest of our community. Given that this bill does clearly provide a deterrent to smugglers and the business around people smuggling, the criminal gangs in the channel, in the way of disrupting their activity, greater expense, etc. Why is it that we've still heard representations from a few of our, well, I think two or three of you outright said, but all seem to be broadly supportive of Rwanda? Why, given those facts, do you still think it's a mistake to be repealing those acts within this bill?
I mean, there's a Nationality and Borders Act of 2022, there's the Illegal Migration Act of 2023. I said earlier I was not a great fan of the IMA because of the very reasons that you stated, because it brought in clauses, it brought in the ban too early, so people were being banned from re-entering this country before we'd even removed them. And that was impacting on port cases. It was a hugely difficult time because that law actually put all of the eggs in the Rwanda basket, and as you say, left increasing numbers of boat people were being served with notice that you're going to Rwanda when they were never going to go to Rwanda. They were going into the system you described, so I don't think that was a very good idea. I think what happened with the NABA, if we'd have put the IMA to one side and the duty to remove, and we'd have stuck with NABA, and then we had SORA, the safety of SORA would have turbocharged NABA, and it would have given you that triage option to either accept people into your asylum system quickly and process them, which you're doing now, but you could have done that with some of them. But for the others, where you wanted to make a point that it's not okay to come across in a small boat and get to stay in the UK, you could have sent some of them to Rwanda. And that's, I think, what we could have done under NABA and SORA, and I think the IMA disrupted that. That's my view.
Okay.
And I just add to that, I suppose the asylum backlog of inadmissible people is a function of the disjunction between different parts of the legislation, the implementation moving at different speeds. Obviously, the intention at the beginning was we'd have the flights going off in, I think it was, what was it, January 2023, when the ECHR injunction stopped the first flight. And I think that derailed it, and you could have had conceivably a situation where a combination of some offshoring and the deterrent effect of that would have meant the backlog of inadmissible cases did not grow. Obviously, the fact that then Rwanda got stalled through the courts for a couple of years and then just didn't happen at all meant inevitably that mounting was going to increase, and that was at that point locked in.
Thank you.